All right, if you've been keeping an eye on AI, you know the next big thing isn't just another chatbot. It's all about AI agents. We're talking about systems that can actually reason, plan, and execute complex tasks all on their own. And today, we're putting two of the biggest frameworks for building these agents head-to-head, LangGraph and CrewAI.
So why should you care? Well, as the great Andrew Ng points out, if you can just ignore all the marketing hype for a second, something very real and very powerful is happening here. The number of actually useful apps being built with this tech is just exploding. I mean, everything from fully automated customer support teams to agents that do deep scientific research. This isn't just a buzzword, it's a massive shift in what AI can actually do.
Okay, so let's just make sure we're all on the same page here. What exactly is Agentic AI? Well, think of it as the next step in AI's evolution. Instead of just answering a question you ask it, these systems can take a goal, break it down into smaller steps, figure out what tools to use, and then work all by themselves to get it done. It's the difference between asking, "Hey, what's the weather like?" and telling an agent, "Hey, plan and book my entire vacation based on that weather forecast." See the difference? It's huge.
Now, to actually build these incredible agents, developers need tools. They need frameworks. And the two we're looking at today, LangGraph and CrewAI, have totally different ideas about how to do it. The best way to get it, really, is with a metaphor. Think of LangGraph as the super detailed architect and CrewAI as the get-it-done team manager. Let's see what that really means.
So here's the core idea. LangGraph, which comes from the same folks who made LangChain, is really an architect's toolkit. It gives you all this low-level, fine-grained control to design every single connection, every workflow, every little decision point from the ground up. CrewAI, on the other hand, is like a manager's playbook. It lets you define roles for your agents. You're the researcher, you're the writer, and then manage them like a real team. So with LangGraph, you're building the skyscraper from the foundation up. With CrewAI, you're directing the crew that's already on site.
Now these numbers, they tell a really fascinating story. You can see CrewAI got out of the gate a bit earlier and just blew up in popularity on GitHub. I mean, look at those stars. It totally captured the imagination of developers. But, and this is a big but, look closer at the commits and the downloads. LangGraph has way more commits, which shows it's under super intense active development. And those downloads? Wow, over 6 million a month? That suggests that while CrewAI is popular to talk about, LangGraph is being seriously adopted in actual real-world production systems.
All right, let's get into the direct comparison. Round one is all about their core philosophy. How do they think about structuring the work that agents do? Is it a super flexible, free-form graph, or is it a more defined, structured crew? And this slide just illustrates that difference perfectly. LangGraph sees everything as a big graph of nodes and edges. This means you can create these incredibly complex, looping flows where an agent can, say, revisit a step to refine its work, or you can have the path change completely based on an earlier result. It's super powerful. CrewAI is way more structured. It gives you these predefined processes to choose from. You can have a simple sequential assembly line where task A hands off to task B, or you can have a hierarchical structure where a manager agent assigns tasks to its specialists. It's definitely simpler to set up, but you trade away some of that wild flexibility you get with a graph.
Okay, on to round two. What does all this mean in practice when you're actually sitting down to write code? Well, this is where we see that classic trade-off between having absolute granular control versus having elegant, beautiful simplicity.
Both frameworks understand that sometimes a human needs to step in, but how they handle it is night and day. LangGraph basically gives you developer God mode. You can set these breakpoints that just pause the entire workflow, letting you peek inside the agent's brain, see its current state, and even change things before you let it continue. It's literally like time travel debugging. CrewAI's approach is much, much simpler. You just add one little parameter to a task. The agent does its work, then politely stops and asks for a yes or no before it moves on. It's effective, for sure, but you don't get anywhere near that deep, granular control.
What about doing more than one thing at once? Well, LangGraph allows for true parallel execution. You can split your workflow into different branches that all run at the same time. And crucially, it does this with a safety net. If any one of those branches fails, the whole thing just rolls back to the beginning of the step. That prevents all sorts of weird errors. CrewAI also lets agents run tasks at the same time, but it includes this really smart, practical feature, built-in rate limiting. This is fantastic for keeping costs down because it makes sure your agents don't just go wild and spam an API, running up a huge bill.
So after looking at their philosophies and their features, we've arrived at the big question. which one of these amazing tools is the right one for you. And remember, this isn't about which one is better in a vacuum. It's all about which one is the right fit for the specific job you're trying to do.
Let's just break it down. You've got to ask yourself, am I the architect who needs precise control over every single beam and wire, or am I the team manager who just needs to get a project up and running like yesterday?
You're going to want to choose LangGraph if your project is complex and you know it's heading for production. If you need to build custom loops, create conditional logic that changes on the fly, and you absolutely need the power to debug every single step, this is your toolkit. It's been battle-tested at scale by big companies, making it the clear choice for serious, enterprise-grade agents. Now, you should pick CrewAI if what you really care about is speed and simplicity. It is absolutely fantastic for banging out a quick proof of concept. If the problem you're solving naturally looks like a human team structure, with a manager delegating to specialists, then CrewAI is going to feel perfect. Plus, all of its built-in support for things like understanding images or connecting to your own documents can get you up and running in a few hours, not a few days.
But wait, the story doesn't just end with picking one over the other. The entire field of AI agents is evolving. It's moving towards a future where collaboration is everything. And I'm not just talking about agents within one framework, but collaboration between different frameworks.
We're starting to see these new interoperability standards pop up, like the agent-to-agent protocol. And the whole point is to create a kind of universal language so that an agent built with LangGraph can seamlessly team up and work with an agent that was built in CrewAI. So you see, the future isn't about one framework winning. It's about building a vibrant, interconnected ecosystem where the best agent for the job can chip in, no matter how it was built.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As these tools evolve and agents from all over start working together, that clean line between being the architect and being the manager, it's going to start to get really blurry, isn't it? So who's going to drive the next wave of innovation? Will it be the architects, meticulously designing those intricate systems from the ground up? Or will it be the managers, who are great at orchestrating diverse teams of agents towards one big goal? The answer, I think, is probably both.